So the question is, what about spore biotics?
Okay, this is a great question. Spore probiotics are a different form of the gut bugs that tend to better hold up to stomach acid. And so probably some people will experience a difference with the spore probiotic versus a different kind because it actually potentially got some live bugs into the intestine. Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your health coach and host, Jenn Trepeck, always here with you every week for wellness without the weirdness. Joining me today is a new voice for all of you. My friend Claire is here. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited.
I'm so glad you're here because this episode was actually inspired by an Instagram thing I did that prompted you to text me. Claire, do you remember?
I loved that. I told my husband about it. And then I took a shower and I slept so much better after that reel that you did. I loved it. So
amazing.
Good.
So I did an Ask Me Anything on Instagram. People like Claire responded so well to it. So I was like, okay, we're going to turn this into an episode. I love a good Q&A episode too, and we haven't done one in a while. So I thought we're going to do an Ask Jenn Anything episode. So here we are. We have some food-related questions, both with like grocery things and dining out. We have some supplement and pop culture health things and pharmaceutical questions. So you guys submitted great ones for this. Before we get into it, we have to tell our members what they're getting this week. So members, your recipe this week is for Copycat Sweet Green Harvest Bowl. So I love this one so much. I love sweet green, but also it's so satisfying and hearty. You can make it at home. This is a great example of using grains and starches as condiments rather than like food groups. And this is also just the perfect time of year when it's sort of transitional weather. So if you want this recipe, be sure you're a member. Go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. For $10 a month, you get weekly recipes, a monthly article or tool, extra discounts from me and our partners, plus access to live Q&A sessions. It's a total deal. I say it all the time. It's really a steal because when you take advantage of the full offerings, you're going to save far more than that $10 cost. It's seriously a no-brainer way to show yourself that your health is a priority. Plus, being a member supports this podcast and this community so we can continue to bring you new episodes every week. So remember, all you have to do is go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries, or just click the link in the show notes because that's way easier than remembering the whole URL. Once you're there, you click support now, enter your email and payment info, click subscribe, and you're all set. You'll get this week's recipe for the Copycat Sweet Green Harvest Bowl. Okay, Claire, I sent you all the questions. Let's start with the first one. What you got?
What's a healthier salad base, romaine or arugula, and which has more nutrients?
Oh, okay. So I want to preface this whole thing by saying just eat both, right? Like this is the kind of nuance that I think gets us caught in the weeds and like at the risk of dismissing the question, which I'm not doing and I don't want to do. If these are the questions we're asking, we're in a really good place and we don't have to worry about it. And having both or either one and mixing it up is what's going to get us our best health, right? Now, having said that, if we're going to compare arugula and romaine, arugula is a little bit higher in nutrients than romaine. There's more protein. It's a little bit. There's more fiber. Romaine has more water. Romaine also has more beta carotene, but there's more lutein and zeaxanthin, which are like antioxidants in arugula. But again, like all that to say, it doesn't really matter. They're both great choices, and I would actually recommend both and changing it up and getting variety.
Yeah, because when you get like a crunch in, it can be like fun. It's whatever you want.
Yeah, and they have such different flavors that I feel like depending on what else you're putting in the salad, like there's a time and a place for each one.
I feel like that's like the next question you had from Devin is quinoa healthier than rice? And I feel like that's a perfect lead into like salad type things.
Yeah. I struggle with this one because it's like healthier how, right? Like nutrient density wise, generally, yes. quinoa, like quinoa has more protein and more fiber than rice. By the way, we have a nutrition nugget on quinoa. We have a nutrition nugget on rice. The nutrition nugget on rice talks a lot about how it kind of depends how it's cooked, right? Because if we have like actual like steamed rice in the rice cooker versus like boil in a bag in 10 minutes versus 60 seconds in the microwave rice, like those 3 different kinds of rice have very different nutrient profiles. But then we also did a nutrition nugget called Cool Your Rice, where we talked about how if you cook your rice and then cool it before you eat it, you could reheat it if you want to eat it warm. But by cooling your rice, you create resistant starches, which are really quality fiber, essentially. So yes, quinoa has more protein and fiber. There are also some benefits to rice, but also remember, both of them are grains. And so you're going to end up with something that's higher in carbohydrates or net carbs. And so you might want to consider how we're building out the rest of the plate, no matter which one we're having.
So next question is, what are healthy sweet snacks? I love this question. I don't know who asked this question, but it's genius.
Right. Well, what do you like to eat? What are your like sweet snacks?
Yogurt covered pretzels, but I don't think
that
that's
sounds
like a
delicious.
healthy sweet snack.
Well, it's funny because I think it's like define healthy versus healthier.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think the yogurt covered pretzels are healthier than other options. Like I guess to me the word healthy means that like it's going to improve our health versus like not diminish it. Right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So like I sort of struggle with all of that. Like your sweet snacks that are going to improve health are going to sound really lame, right? Like fruit, but nobody wants that answer, you know?
Yeah.
So like, but
totally.
I love like dark chocolate with some nut butter.
That's
or bananas and nut butter and maybe some dark chocolate with that too.
Not peanut butter.
It could be peanut butter, but it could also be almond butter.
Is that better for you?
Again, it's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Like, yes, almonds and walnuts are generally more nutritious than peanuts. So like we could do better, but I also have a mild obsession with peanut butter. And so like, sorry, I love my peanut butter. Like, you know, I will say go for the ones where like the only ingredient is the nuts and maybe some salt. Like growing up on Jif, this like hurts my soul a little bit, but you know, it's time for us to be adults and eat real food rather than the chemicals that we grew up on.
Creamy.
Yeah. But I also think with like the sweet snacks thing, like it can be healthier too if we, like the 3-bite rule comes up with this, I feel like. Like have a couple bites, enjoy it, and onward.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so then as kind of a follow-on, are Smart Sweets really good for you? And is it better to have one piece of sour candy or an entire bag of these? So Small Wins is kind of like what you just answered, essentially.
Well, so there's a brand called Small Wins, and there's a brand called Smart Sweets. And they are supposedly like healthier candies. So admittedly, like I haven't looked them up. Now, backing up, because what this first made me think of is like I remember like the sugar-free Jello. Yeah, exactly. Like all the sugar-free things. Yes. And so all of those sugar-free things used to be made with sugar alcohols. And if you ate a lot of them, you would know. Like you would know. Like at one time I had a mild problem with like sugar-free Jelly Bellies, but I didn't realize, whatever.
It's so relatable though, because
right.
there's a Reddit. It's a Reddit or like one of those. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious. It literally is the reviews of eating too many sugar-free Harvo gummy bears. And it's, I've never laughed harder in my entire life. Like it makes my stomach crack.
Send it to me. I want to read it so bad. I would say ingredients wise, these are maybe a little bit better than those because they're not necessarily using sugar alcohols. But remember, with any food, when we take something out, we're adding other things in, right? Because we still want it to be the taste that we want. So I looked up Smart Sweets. I pulled up the Tropical Eggs gummy candy. So ingredients: isomalto-oligosaccharides, chicory root fiber, water, modified potato starch, rice flour, pectin, malic acid, citric acid, lactic acid, fumaric acid, stevia leaf extract, fruit and vegetable juice for color, natural pineapple orange flavor with other natural flavors, carnauba wax, and coconut oil. This is what we call a food-like substance, right? Like, yes, like chicory root fiber and pectin and, you know, some of these things are things that we might otherwise have in stuff, but I wouldn't say anything in there is particularly like health promoting, right? And then on the nutrition facts, the serving was 1 bag, but it had 40 grams of carbs and 6 grams of fiber. So not great. Like, it's still going to probably create like a spike and a crash of your blood sugar eating these as a snack or dessert or whatever. So I don't love them. And then I looked at, what was the other brand on that list? The Small Wins.
Small Wins. Yeah, Small Wins.
So I looked up one of their things, and it was pretty similar. 40 grams of total carbs. This one has 14 grams of fiber. So you could have some indigestion if you're not used to this. So the Smart Sweets use stevia and malic acid and some fruit juice things for flavor and color. Small Wins is made of tapioca fiber, allulose, which is their sweetener, is the second ingredient, organic IMO, I don't even know what that is, organic cane sugar, so now there's actual sugar, organic natural watermelon flavor, malic acid, citric acid, sodium citrate, organic white rice flour, sodium malate, fumaric acid, organic natural lime flavor, organic fruit and vegetable juice for color, and monk fruit extract. I mean, this one has 3 different kinds of sweeteners, including cane sugar. I mean, part of me says maybe we just have a couple of the real Sour Patch Kids and call it a day.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't even know how to pronounce those, and I would have to Google so many different things. I wouldn't even enjoy eating it, probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody would. Yeah. I don't know. I'm of the camp of like, sometimes the more we try to replace the thing with these food-like substances, it just doesn't hit the spot. And maybe we're better off having, you know, a few Sour Patch Kids and calling it a day. And I say Sour Patch Kids because that's what I like.
I love that. I love that. So the next question, and I love this one, is the 5-second rule really a thing?
So like when you like drop food on the ground and like, as long as it's less than 5 seconds, you don't have to wash it again.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so in my life, yes, it's a thing. In biology, no, I don't think it's really a thing. Like, bacteria can attach to food very quickly, like if it's on the floor. So no, but if it makes you feel better, fine. But I also think like humans have been on this planet in this world for far longer than we have been like overly washing everything. And so there's probably some happy medium in there between, you know, not ingesting bacteria and getting enough bacteria in us that we have a robust immune system. So I'm a fan of the 5-second rule. I think we're going to be fine. But also like there's no science to the 5-second rule.
Totally. And like probably not New York City streets. 5-second rule.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, let's have some boundaries. Like 0 seconds, New York City street. It doesn't matter.
Greenfield,
like garbage.
Middle of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Your own home on the countertop, like you decide.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck on like the thought of eating something that fell on the New York City street.
I can't. My dog, literally, I had to pull a piece of gum out of her mouth. And in the piece of gum, there was a cigarette and like something that I don't even know. And I was holding her upside down, trying to get the gum out of her mouth.
Oh my God.
Like in the 5 seconds, she licked the ground. There was cigarettes and gum. And like, it's just gross.
Oh my God. No. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. If you want a quick meal and you're out and about, what's the best option? I end up eating pizza. I know, but not sure what to get. And that was from Alexa.
I love that it's like, I get pizza, but I know.
Acknowledges, but I also get pizza, Alexa, so I'm with you.
Yeah. So it's funny. And again, some of this has to do with like where you live and what's available. But it's interesting because like one of the things I remind my clients of all the time is like when we're running around, as close as there is a restaurant, there is also usually some version of a grocery store. And grocery stores have a ton of prepared foods and easy to grab things. So like we think it's easier to go to a restaurant, but like we could also go into the grocery store and get a bag of baby carrots and a package of hummus. Or, you know, like there are so many options there. Also, like, I don't know, we're in New York City. So like bodegas often have like hard boiled eggs and cut up veggies that are easy. Sometimes like I like the Think creamy peanut butter protein bars. So like I can get those in an apple and that'll like hold me over. I will say like all of those things are more snack than meal, right? But like generally with food, snack or meal, we're thinking protein and fiber. So protein, whatever you want, and fiber being vegetables or fruit.
Yeah.
And like see what you can find.
So on the like heavier side, if it was a quick meal, you would do something like the eggs and
like the eggs or even like sweet green, right? We're doing the copycat salad for our members. Like sweet green is easy. Even like Chipotle can have some awesome options too.
Yeah, like the salad that you can add the beans on, kind of.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, so I feel like, so question 7 is, what about chains like Naya, Tame, Kava? Are they really okay? Or are they just a bunch of oily fast foods? Kava owned by Chipotle? Is that real?
Yeah. So Kava is owned by Chipotle. Isn't that interesting? Because I was looking up whether or not it's like a national chain. Because I was like, are all of these things that we only have in New York? So Kava's owned by Chipotle, which makes me think that they're all over. And these are basically like Middle Eastern, Mediterranean type fast casual, I guess you would call it. I guess I'm not really sure like what's fast casual. Like, and are like these fast casual or is like Applebee's fast casual? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm getting stuck. Not important.
Those are the important questions in life.
This is where my brain goes. So I think I live in a world where we can find something to eat anywhere. There are just sometimes trade-offs. So certainly like eating out at a restaurant, they're going to probably add salt and fat and things that you wouldn't necessarily eat at home. And yet like you could go into Naya and get, you know, like the chicken kebab, greens, a bunch of veggies, some tzatziki, hummus, and have a great, super satisfying meal. You know, so I think they're great options, but there are also options there that are probably going to leave you feeling really heavy and gross because everybody is going to offer all the things. It comes down to what you're choosing. And then it's also relative to what? Relative to what you're going to eat at home. There's certainly trade-offs and there's, you know, count it as an extra fat in your day, maybe, you know, like if you're keeping track of those things. Again, like Chipotle has great options. I think we can use these places and find great options. And by the way, also, if your only option was McDonald's, you could find something there too.
Yeah, totally. If you were to walk into like a Naya and build a bowl, what would you put on yours?
Yeah. So
like
I typically do chicken. Sometimes like I'll crave the falafel. And so, you know, like I'll do falafel or whatever. But I normally do chicken, but like the grilled chicken. I do lettuce in the bottom. And then lots of veggies. I can't do beets. But then I also really like pickles on it and hummus and tzatziki.
Oh, like the pickles would give it a nice, like, I love that. And I would have never thought to add that.
And little tahini. But all the veggies. Like if they have roasted eggplant, I'm all over that. I think the cauliflower there is really good too. But like I'm going to skip the big things I'm skipping, right? More times than not, I'm skipping the heavier proteins or the fried protein. I'm skipping the rice. I'm skipping a lot of the dairy things.
Like cheese, I guess, is dairy.
Yeah, like I'm not really a cheese person. Maybe a little bit of feta, but I feel like it doesn't need it by that point.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll have some of the pita because it's so good.
Would you do like guacamole? Would you add that to your Chipotle bowl or no?
Yes. Let's get some quality fat in there. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the guac, although it's extra. They charge you extra.
I know, it's so annoying.
But they tell you every time it's extra.
Yeah, so at least you know it's not like blindsided.
Right.
Okay, I'm so excited about this next question. I get Instagram ads served all of the time. Sakara and Factor meals, are they good?
Okay, yeah. So I vaguely recall talking about Sakara on a couple, like we did an episode that was like meal kits unpacked, and I talked about like all these kinds of companies. So Sakara, for the most part, is dramatic calorie cutting. And I remember looking at their smoothies and being not impressed. Like way more fruit heavy than vegetable heavy. and not enough protein to where like you're going to have this smoothie and be hungry again in an hour and probably hangry, So I wasn't super impressed with Sakara. I have a friend who tried it years ago and struggled because she has a nut allergy. And it was like they would send her things for lunch that needed like a full kitchen. And she's like, I'm in an office. Yeah. So that was also a long time ago. Maybe they've come a ways since then. I don't know for sure. And then Factor. So interesting you say this. I got a discount. I tried it at the beginning of this year.
Okay. From Instagram?
No. But so first week, I was like, this is great. But then I got really sick of chicken. And then I was sort of like trying to create some variety. And then to create the variety, it was like I was paying extra for things. And then I have to tell you, I'm still having it on occasion because I never have groceries. And sometimes it's just easier to have something prepared. But I have to tell you, like, I'm no longer enjoying them because I look at the nutrition facts and I am mind boggled. Like, I don't understand. The description will be like chicken, potato, and like another vegetable, like a honey mustard chicken. And then there's like 50 grams of fat. And I'm like, how is this possible? And I'm exaggerating only a little bit, right? Like there was definitely one that was like 30 grams of fat, but I don't remember which one it was. But I'm like, I don't understand what you're putting in here. So my issue with a lot of these is that they spend the calories in a way that I wouldn't if I was making food for myself.
I love that. That's like such a good analogy that I've never thought of. Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, like if I'm making chicken, potatoes, and vegetables, like that seems great, but somehow them making chicken, potato, and vegetables not the same. And again, those are just trade-offs that we make. Like, could I buy groceries? Yes. Did I? No, I bought this. So this is what I, right? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of the same trade-off of like eating out versus eating from home. And so, okay, noted. Now I can like make whatever choice I want going forward. For me personally, I'm not going all in on these.
Totally.
So, yeah. Okay, let's do a quick break to highlight our partner for this episode, and then we'll come back with some other questions that are tackling some like pop culture-y things, some fads and supplements and that kind of stuff. All right, friends, if you're a fan of Salad with a Side of Fries podcast and looking for how you can support us, we've got you covered with our awesome merch. Seasonal items are available for you, as well as, of course, our best sellers from the winter. So with the season, maybe it's time for a new tank or a t-shirt. I love the muscle tee that says you can't outrun your fork. I also love the one that just says Team Salad or Team Fries. I have the gym towel that says Team Fries. Again, maybe you want the water bottle, the gym towel. Show your pride. I'm wearing the quarter zip right now. Not that you can see this because this is an audio podcast, but little lightweight long sleeve for before and after your workout, or the cropped hooded sweatshirt is a great one too. And like I mentioned, the water bottle, but I love it has little motivational sayings to encourage us to keep drinking our water. So you get to show all of your love for the podcast and share if you're Team Salad or Team Fries. So just head over to the website, asaladwithasideoffries.com/merch. Browse the full selection. Snag the official Salad with a Side of Fries mug, perfect for sipping a little chamomile tea or your favorite brew while listening to the latest episode. And of course, I love the wine bag. Grab the wine bag, and then you can, take wine with you when you're going to someone's home this season. So now you can take a piece of the podcast with you wherever you go. Maybe these are your best anchors to remind yourself of your commitment to your health. So simply text the word fries, FRIES, to 844-947-4846. You'll receive the link right to your phone. Check out all the Salad with the Side of Fries merch. Your purchase supports all the work we do here, shows your podcast pride, and maybe it sparks a conversation for you to pay it forward and inspire someone else to change their health too. So again, text the word fries, FRIES, to 844-947-4846. This is a toll-free number. Standard text and data rates may apply. All right, Claire, back to you. What's our next question?
Okay. This is from one of your, I think, listeners or followers. It says,
okay.
I'm menopause. I've been told by many to do IF, but I don't know if it's right for me. Do you think it's right for me? Or what do you think of it for me?
Yeah.
Do you need the name of the person?
It doesn't. That's okay. So intermittent fasting, IF is intermittent fasting.
Thank you. I was very confused about what it was.
Yeah. So IF is intermittent fasting. For the perimenopause, menopause crowd, I am not a fan. Our hormones require nutrition. Let me just back up a second on intermittent fasting and just speak to like the average person, not even the demographic of perimenopause, menopause, right? Average human living in this world does not get the minimum requirements of what the body needs in order to not deteriorate. Given 24 hours a day, we don't get what we need. So how we think the average human is going to get everything they need in a few hours a day is sort of, I just can't comprehend, like on principle. Then when you look at the female body and what's needed for our proper function at any time of life, right? And then with menopause and perimenopause, I am not a fan of intermittent fasting. What we do want is to fuel ourselves regularly and keep our blood sugar balanced by choosing protein, fiber, quality fat. The type of fasting that I do like is like 2 to 3 hours before bed. We're going to stop eating. And then we start eating within like an hour to 90 minutes after waking up. So your fasting time is a little before bed to about an hour after waking up. Other than that, we want quality nutrition, fueling ourselves regularly, keeping our blood sugar stable.
I would get so hangry if I did fasting. It would not be pleasant.
I mean, the idea that we're going to expect our body to perform without fuel is not what sends the body signals of safety. So,
yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from, I think it's Elsa.
Okay.
What is your opinion on Ozempic? Is it cheating?
Okay, so I have done a lot on Ozempic. I first started talking about Ozempic around Thanksgiving of 2022, I want to say.
Right. It's when they started making it, I think.
Yeah. So I have a lot of opinions. I have a whole episode on Ozempic, Wegovy, like all of those. Is it cheating? First of all, I think nobody wins for making this the hardest. So is it cheating to make something easier? No, I'm not a fan of, I don't agree with that assessment.
I love that analogy. I think that's such a good one.
Good. Yeah. So I do think for some people, it is life-saving. I also think that we need to understand that health is not a number on the scale, and body composition is what creates health. And what we're seeing with a lot of the people taking these medications is that the number on the scale goes down. Some of these other blood markers are changing. But in the long run, by body composition, are they actually healthier? Do they have more muscle? Or are they just at a lower number, but by body fat percentage, they are actually fatter? So I think we need to recognize that there is more to this than just the number on the scale. And these medications are often focusing on that one benchmark, or BMI, which many of you guys know. I have episodes upon episodes that BMI is BS. And so the other thing is there are so many potential side effects, and they are real, and they are happening to most people. Like, we always think that it's not going to happen to us. Like, I know a lot of people taking them. More people than not have side effects. I also think you have options. And this is what a lot of people don't know or don't talk about because your doctor doesn't know it either, right? It's the same reason why BMI became a tool that our doctors use, because they didn't know how to talk to their patients about their weight. This is just the new thing for them to say instead of actually learning about nutrition and instead of learning about options, because there are supplements and nutrients that we can use to work with our body's biochemistry to help make this an easier process. And it's not all willpower. Like, a lot of people who don't understand, I think they think it's all willpower, and that's not the case. Like, a lot of this is very, very chemical in the body. And so I appreciate that these medications are creating a conversation that this is chemical, but there are so many other options like chromium and white kidney bean extract and leptocor and African mango seed extract. Like, there are tools that we can use to help the body rehab our metabolism and our metabolic health. And so, these tools ignore that. So explore options. You know, if your doctor is saying this to you, you know, as your only option, know that there are others. And then I can't not say this. I think we have a really big problem socially with this wave of whatever we want to call this, because I think we're returning to the 90s, like wafer thin is the sign of health and beauty. And that's not the case at all. And Claire, I think even in the Instagram stories.
This gives me goosebumps. You gave me goosebumps when you were talking about it because I resonated.
What did I say?
You were talking about how it's so much more than just a number on a scale and being certain like gene size. And I remember growing up, it's all about what size. It's like no one sees the size on your gene. And then you said, not everyone is the same shoe size. So why should everybody be like the same like physical size? And I think I loved how you spoke about it. So I'm going to let you spoke.
No, thank you that reminds me what I said, because sometimes I just like rant and I don't even know. But
I gave the goosebumps and I loved it.
Thank you. I think, you know, it's that expectation that like we're all supposed to be the same body shape and size. And like, we don't expect the same shoe size. We don't expect the same height. We don't expect the same hair color. Like, why do we think that we're all supposed to be the same body shape and size? And also, I probably said this on there too, like there are 0 diseases that exist only in bigger bodies. So if what we're talking about is health, like this isn't it, but it's teaching everybody and reinforcing to everybody that health has a size. And I don't think it does. I know it doesn't.
I love that. So sticking with Ozempic, how do you navigate dating on Ozempic? Can't drink alcohol, can barely eat. What do you bring? When do you bring it up?
Oh, this is tough. I mean, so first of all, this is going to be very individual. Like, I can't speak for anyone who is living this experience. And I think everybody is going to know for themselves what their personal best move here is. I think especially early on in dating, it's important to build a relationship before potentially revealing something about yourself in that way. So like making sure that you're ready to share this information. And there are certainly dates that you can have, like, you know, meet somebody for coffee instead of a cocktail, right? And have like iced tea or something, right? Like there are options. You could have a walking date. Like there are things you can do as dates that don't necessarily require alcohol and food. And again, I think with the sober curious conversation, which also, yes, I'm planning this far ahead. Next January, we're doing a sober curious conversation. I think it's more and more common to not drink. So I don't think that's necessarily so weird to have like club soda with a lime, you know, on a date and not drink. But eventually there's going to come a point in a relationship where a conversation needs to be had. And then you can decide who you share it with and when you share it and how you share it. But I think that it's also important when you share something like this, that there is context and you share your experience and what you're looking for from that other person in this dynamic. Because one of the things that can happen is that they have their own assumptions about what this means. So you need to tell them what it means for you. And in our episode, How to Be a Wellness Ally, we talked about how sometimes like people want to be well-intentioned. They just don't know. And so sometimes we have to tell them what it looks like to be supportive. So let that person know what you need from them. I just need to make sure that any restaurant we go to on a date has a salad. Great. Now I know how to support you and be helpful in this. And like, that's all that's needed kind of thing, you know?
I think that's so helpful too, because just like thinking about some, like not even necessarily about Ozempic, but like if someone were to present you with something that is kind of like open-ended, it's like you want to be supportive, but like, how do you support? Like, what do you say? So like,
right.
I think it's also just great communication. Like what you just said, like, this is what it means for me. And I'm hoping that like for you, this is what, and I just wish more people did that and communicated that way. It would make things so much easier, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. But again, like I can't speak for anybody. And by the way, next time I see a couple of people I know who are single and on Ozempic, like I'm going to ask them this question, but you have to do what feels right for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So switching topics.
Okay.
What do you think of Liquid IV and Element?
Oh, so these are basically like, These are basically like electrolyte powders that you can add to your water. I want to say, I think generally for the most part, we don't need them. Most people are not sweating so much or having so much diarrhea that you are really that depleted. I mean, listen, I have clients who do have challenges where they really need to focus on hydration. So let me say this, hydration is more than water. Okay, minerals help the body hold on to water when it's needed. So minerals support proper hydration. With a lot of these drinks, you end up in a situation where they're coming with a bunch of other things, right? So what's the sweetener that they're using? So Liquid IV, the original Liquid IV used stevia. The sugar-free Liquid IV uses allulose. Element uses stevia, if I recall correctly. And then they have varying amounts of, sodium, potassium, magnesium. Those are kind of like the big minerals. And then sometimes they'll have vitamin C or B vitamins or those kinds of things. Again, if we're going to take a B vitamin, I'm a big fan of making sure that it's the methylated form or the activated form of the B vitamin so that our bodies can use it. Like I said, I think a lot of these end up being really expensive water. And if we are really in need of some extra minerals, you can add Celtic sea salt to your water. So not enough that you feel like you're drinking the ocean, but a little bit so that your water has some flavor.
A sprinkle of the ocean.
But your water, when you add the sea salt, your water will have flavor, but you don't want it to taste like you're drinking an oyster, right? But I think Celtic sea salt is a really cost-effective way to do this. I'm a big fan of coconut water, as long as the coconut water, is actually just pure coconut water and not a ton of added sugar and things made to seem like coconut water. We have Nutrition Nugget on coconut water, and there's an episode about hydration where we talked about the Celtic sea salt. So I think a lot of times some of these things come into effect are with hangovers.
Totally. You give them out in your wedding gift bags or things afterwards. You see the Liquid IV and you just buy it because everyone else bought it. What does it actually do?
So for a hangover, my magic potion is lots of B vitamins, antioxidants, and then your water. And you could do some of the Celtic sea salt in the water, but and some food.
What was the word, the term when you said you wanted to add B vitamins? There was two of them that you used.
So methylated or activated is the word for B vitamins to make sure that they are in the form that our body can use. So methylation is the process in the body of basically turning things into the form that the body uses. But methylation is a multi-step process. And most people genetically do not get all the way through that process. And so taking the methylated form, so on the ingredients, it would say methylcobalamin is the methylated form, means that it is basically most of that work of, it's not necessarily instantly ready, but your body has to do a lot less work. It's most of the way through that methylation process as the form that you're taking it, and then your body is better able to use it.
It's awesome. It's setting your body for the best chance to actually absorb what you're giving.
Exactly.
I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so on to something else that kind of sounds like methylation, but is not.
Right.
Does melatonin work?
Okay.
Why does it give me funky dreams? And then I'm going to butcher this. What about ashwagandha?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Melatonin is a hormone, right? Melatonin is our sleepy time hormone. Ashwagandha is an herb. So people will use these as supplements to help with sleep. So yes, they can both help. Let's start with ashwagandha first. So ashwagandha is an herb that supports relaxation and healthy cortisol levels. Therefore, it can support easier sleep, right? It can help us sort of calm down to then be able to fall asleep. I don't know that ashwagandha will help you stay asleep. It's more supportive, I think, on the fall asleep side. that's me based on experience of using ashwagandha, myself and clients. And some research, like I haven't totally dug into a ton of research on ashwagandha for staying asleep. Melatonin, the sleepy time hormone, is more used in the case of support for staying asleep. So melatonin is the hormone. When we supplement with a hormone versus with nutrients that support the body producing that hormone naturally, we can sometimes end up with too much. And so that's where you might need to experiment a little bit. So you may not want to take it every day. Like you could maybe take it every day for a couple months and then take some time off. Or you could take it, a few days a week and then take a couple days off. Again, modulating that dose. Some people feel like, they wake up super groggy from melatonin. And so you're probably taking too much in that case. Was the last part the dreams thing?
Yes, funky dreams. Wanted to give me funky dreams. I love that.
So some people will say nightmares, but it increases the amount of sleep when we dream. So some people will end up with like nightmares or things like that. So
like your REM sleep is like while you're dreaming instead of having it be that in-between phase. So interesting.
Yeah. And then there's some research that melatonin doesn't necessarily increase the percentage of time spent in REM sleep, but the percentage of time in stage 2 sleep and different types of sleep activity and stage 3 sleep is. So anyway, long story short, like you can have impacted dreams because, especially if you're not used to that REM sleep or deep sleep and now you're having it, like,
It's a lot. Yeah.
It can be a lot. But yeah, I think with any of these, we also want to look at other things we're doing to create quality sleep and the sleep environment and helping the body have a natural sleep-wake cycle.
Totally. I loved that thing you said about taking a shower before bed. I slept like a baby. That was also on your ask me anything. Never ask that question is my hero because it's been helping. I did it 3 nights in a row and I've slept like a baby and I love that.
Oh, good. Amazing.
Okay, so the next question is, what do you think of AG1? And then kind of comma, what about juicing? Why do people love kale? It's a loaded question.
So funny. There are a lot of questions in this one. Okay, let me start with juicing. We have a nutrition nugget on green juice, and that sort of sums it up on juicing. We've also talked about this in Debunking Detox. That was probably January of 2020 for that episode. I'm not a fan of juicing. Juicing concentrates all the sugar and removes all the fiber. A big piece of what we're looking for from vegetables and fruit is the fiber. And we're not getting that when we have a juice. AG1, athletic greens and some of these other green powders, it's kind of the same thing. They can give us the micronutrients, but it's not giving us the macronutrients that we would get if we were eating vegetables. So it cannot replace eating fruits and vegetables. The other thing with like a lot of these products that are sort of your all-in-one things, there are some things that we want in split doses. There are some things that we don't want to necessarily take together. And a lot of companies will just put everything in there. And so are they absolutely the best thing supporting your health? Like if you're going to go through all the effort to like pay the money and have it every day, like we could level up a little bit. And then similar to what we were talking about before with the B vitamins.
Factor BLs and stuff.
Yeah, well, like that. And then also like with the B vitamins, like making sure that you're getting things in the form that the body can actually use and absorb. Like sometimes certain things together don't allow the body to absorb and use it. Sometimes certain things are required together for the body to absorb and use it. So it's just not quite as simple as, what a lot of times they want us to think. Yeah, exactly. And then why do people love kale? So I think a lot of times when
I love that like add-on.
Right. I know. It was like a very stream of consciousness situation.
It was
with
perfect.
This question.
I love this is so great.
So I think a lot of times when people don't like kale, it's because of how it's prepared. So you want to take it off the stalk, basically, like off the stem. Like that can be really fibrous and hard to chew. You could certainly cook it. But if you are going to eat it raw, you do want to let it like sit in the oil or sit in the dressing. And if you want to rush that process a little bit, they call it like massaging the kale, where you basically like mix the salad with your hands. It makes the kale softer, and then you can eat it rather than feel like you're eating like hay. Not that I think eating kale is like hay, but you know. That's what I imagine is inspiring this question. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so the next question is, what about spore biotics? And then as a follow-up, and do gummy probiotics do anything, or are they basically just candy?
Okay, this is a great question. Okay, probiotics are the gut bugs. We need different gut bugs in different parts of the digestive tract, right? So we need different ones in the small intestine versus the large intestine versus the colon and all throughout. To get to that point, they have to go through the stomach. Stomach acid tends to kill the live gut bugs. Now, that's even assuming that whatever probiotic thing you're taking is even alive when you take it, because a lot of times if they're not made properly, if they're not stored properly, the bugs will be dead by the time you take them. So a lot of people will take a probiotic and notice nothing. Sometimes people take a probiotic and things get worse, right? So we got to sort of not necessarily just run wild with probiotics, but spore probiotics are a different form of the gut bugs that tend to better hold up to stomach acid. And so probably some people will experience a difference with a spore probiotic versus a different kind because it actually potentially got some live bugs into the intestine. Now, having said that, I use one that uses some technology called LiveBack and BioTrack so that it keeps them alive without having to be refrigerated, without having to worry too much about the temperature. And then the BioTrack is also where the probiotic is made almost in like layers so that the gut bugs for the small intestine are released there, then the large intestine and the colon and so on. So the right bugs get to the right part of the gut. And then gummy probiotics. So admittedly, I haven't done a ton of research on this, but I think just logically, I struggle with it. Like, I don't know how you keep those probiotics. Like, how do you keep them alive in the gummy? Like, even if you're using pectin versus gelatin, like, I don't know. I'm sure there are people who know far more than I do, but I don't know.
I think like conceptually, it's hard to get around also.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then kind of similar. If you're not a vitamin person, what should you take?
So one of my questions is, why do you say you're not a vitamin person? Right? So we need to know this in order to sort of make sure this is very targeted and personalized. But a lot of times when somebody says that, what they mean is that they forget to take them or they're inconsistent. If we're inconsistent, it's probably because we're not noticing a difference when we take them and when we don't. And it's very possible that you don't notice a difference because there are a lot of vitamins that pass through the body whole, right? Where, you know, the body can't even break down. It. Yeah, like even if it can break down the pill, it doesn't absorb the nutrients, or it can't even break down the pill. So there could be a lot of factors there. But I think the crux of this question is like, if you're going to start with supplementation, like where would you start? I want to start with a really high quality multivitamin that includes a B complex in the activated form, like we talked about. I want 125 micrograms of vitamin D, and that's D3, by the way, not D2, D3. Because again, the usable form for the body is D3.
And then is D2 just like not at that stage like you talked about?
Exactly. The body has to convert D2 to D3. CoQ10 is another one that I want in there. And then we want antioxidants and omega-3s. And omega-3s, I want DHA and EPA, 3,000 milligrams or 3 grams of DHA and EPA from deep sea fish. I'll put links in the episode notes for this, because to my favorites that meet these criteria for these things. And that's where I would start if we're sort of new to this. And then from there, we want to sort of build and adjust and really personalize it based on somebody's goals or experiences or challenges or that kind of stuff.
Like, you literally just blew my mind. I thought D2 was a completely separate vitamin than D3. Like, I thought they just ran out of alphabet.
Well, it's funny because K1 and K2 are basically different vitamins, but D2 and D3 are not.
So I wasn't completely
No, you're not at all. Bottom line is, it's complicated, and the average person Right. It makes the argument for like talking to somebody who is in this space to be able to help figure out what you're actually looking at or looking for.
Totally. Just be like, I need to talk to you about this because I had no idea. I was probably taking the wrong thing for my entire life. Okay. And then the last question that I think we have is, what about turmeric? Is using the spice enough?
Okay. So the part of turmeric that has health benefits is called curcumin. Generally, to get a therapeutic dose, you need more than just using the spice. So there are some supplements. We're looking for curcumin supplements, but curcumin is not necessarily that similar to the D2 versus D3 and the B vitamins. Curcumin is not necessarily all that bioavailable. So there are certain forms like curcugreen or BCM95 that are more bioavailable, that allow the body to use it, or BioPerine with the curcumin can help the body use it. I want to say with all supplements, not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease, and talk to your pharmacist, talk to your healthcare provider, especially with curcumin, especially if you're on blood thinners, talk to your pharmacist and healthcare providers. But what does turmeric curcumin do in the body? It actually acts like an antioxidant. The thing that's interesting about it is that it can work inside the cell and outside the cell, which is actually pretty unusual. There's some evidence of it being able to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is kind of unique. It can also increase levels of glutathione. So glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. So it can actually increase levels of glutathione in cells. So a lot of times people think about curcumin for like antioxidant activity, immune support, liver health, and cognitive health. So those are kind of all important. The big things. Yeah, everything important. All right, you said that was our last one. We did it.
That is. We did. This is so fun.
Final thoughts? Anything? What are you taking away from all of our Q&A? Ask me anything.
I'm like, well, I really would love the, in addition to the multivitamin, whatever like probiotic you take, because I've been also like Instagram ad served all of them. And I think there are probably benefits. So it'd be useful to have one that actually can go through, like do what it's supposed to do instead of trying to find like a prebiotic plus like a.
So prebiotic, eat vegetables, and you can check the box.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And
sadly,
then
do French fries count as my vegetables? Or French fries plus carrot?
Much to my dismay, no. I do love a good French fry, obviously.
With the
salad.
But
we need the veggies. Right. I love it. So, okay, I'll put the probiotic in there too. Yeah. I love these questions. I feel like people send in great questions. Keep them coming. The more questions you guys send, we can do this again. I think they're fun. And I feel like this gets super helpful. And I hope, this so to helpful. Me is the stuff that like comes up when you're out to dinner with friends or, walking down the street or scrolling Instagram and you're like, well, should I be doing this? So,
and it's so relatable and it connects, I feel like, everybody too. And you're such a good mediator for it.
Well, thank you. Well, all right, everybody. On Friday, your nutrition nugget. So every year we play Salad with a Side of Fries, March Madness on Instagram. So create a bracket of episodes and then narrow it down over the month of March during college basketball's March Madness tournament. So this year, to change it up, it was all nutrition nuggets. So over the weeks of March, we have narrowed it down to your fan favorite nutrition nugget. And on Friday, we'll do an encore airing of the winner. I'm curious if you think you know which one it is. You got to tune in on Friday to see. So be sure, click the follow or plus sign on the app where you're listening, and then your app will alert you when the nutrition nugget is live on Friday morning at 3 a.m. All right. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Send a message. I want to hear your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Claire, thank you again for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I loved this. I loved the questions. I love you.
Amazing. I love you. I'm going to ask you to come back.
I would be happy to come back.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. All right. Of course, everybody, if you are not already a member, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries to show your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the Copycat Sweet Green Harvest Bowl. So until next week, remember, we could get caught up in the weeds, right? Sometimes with all we see in the news, in ads and around us, what our friends are doing. Maybe our best bet is to stick with our common sense, focus on the fundamentals, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.